Hi and welcome to my channel. So choosing the perfect place to live in the UK is the single most important decision you're ever going to make after obviously the job that you choose to apply for, because everywhere in the UK is not the same. If you live in a particular area, it does not necessarily mean that because you're physically in the UK, you've got access to the best opportunities, the best education, the best healthcare, the best this, the best that. That's not really how it works. Because look, everywhere is not the same. So in this video, I'm going to be telling you the main points to consider when you're choosing where to live in the UK. I'm going to tell you the best places to live in the UK. I'm going to tell you the most expensive places to live in the UK as well as the cheapest. And look, cheap does not always mean best, because people constantly ask me, Melvis, where is the cheapest place to live in the UK? Can you tell me? Because that's where I want to go. Look, that is a very dangerous move and you need to be really careful, because like I say, simply being in the UK does not mean that you have the best opportunities. Neither does it mean that your kids automatically are going to have better opportunities as well. That's not what it means. So you must choose wisely. You need to be really smart. You need to be so strategic when you're choosing where to live in the UK. So that's what we're going to cover in this video. So if you're new to my channel, you're welcome. If you're a returning subscriber, obviously you know I appreciate your time. And I do hope that you find this video useful and all the other videos that I've done all about life in the UK, how to move to the UK, career progression in the UK, side hustle opportunities in the UK, work from home jobs in the UK. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel, you do want to hit subscribe right now, turn on that notification button so you're the first to be notified when I drop a new video on here. But most importantly, I have a free newsletter that I send out really vital information, free pathways to move to the UK, visa sponsorship opportunities to move to the UK without spending thousands of pounds, to move here. Also, career progression pathways. If you're already in the UK, what else can you do with yourself? How do you progress? What is needed? What are the requirements? What are the pathways? Also, work from home jobs. Look, there are many work from home jobs that you can do from the comfort of your own home. Obviously, because it's from home, it doesn't matter where the company is based. And so some of these jobs are very highly paid, as well as starting your own side business in the UK. So if you join my newsletter, which I've dropped a link in the comment section below, all you need to do is drop your name and email and you're part of that newsletter. It won't take you up to 20 seconds to join, and then I'll send all that information directly to your inbox. Any updates, any visa changes, any vital information whatsoever about the UK, I'll send it directly to you. If you're already part of that newsletter, obviously you know what I'm talking about. So do make sure that you check the comment section below and join the newsletter. So this video, like I've said, is going to be talking about the best places to live in the UK. But most importantly, I want to position it as how to choose where to live in the UK. Obviously, the UK is not a country that comes with equal opportunities, which means that if you live in a certain area, you're going to have better opportunities and better facilities than people that live in other areas. It's how the world is. Yes, it would be ideal if the world was fair, but we all know that it is not. That's why some people are broke, some people are poor, some people are middle class, and there's all sorts of, social divisions. And look, there's no way, I don't think, any of us can do anything about that. So when it comes to the UK, the first thing you should consider is, what are the amenities? What are the facilities in that area? What have they got? Because also it's going to depend on whether you've got a family. Like if you've got a family, you need to think even more carefully when you're choosing where to live. Because if you have kids, for example, they need to go out and play. They need, after school activities. They need all sorts of things. You need to take that in mind. If you think that simply being somewhere, because you're already inside the UK, I want to stress on this, you've got good facilities and good opportunities. That is not the case, and it's not really how it works. So again, something else I should consider are the cultural how do I call it, like, is the place multicultural? For example, let me put it that way, because for me, for example, as a Black woman, it is very important for me that I stay in a place that I feel at home, that I feel at ease, that I feel welcome, that I feel that is warm. So choosing a multicultural city is incredibly vital. And by the way, in case you're watching this, you're wondering who I am. So my name is Melvis. I currently work as an advanced nurse practitioner. So I'm a senior nurse here in England. So I live in the UK. I moved quite a few years ago now. As you know, I was a carer. That's how I started my healthcare journey. I was a carer working in a nursing home, and then I decided to study nursing in the UK. as an international student. So I studied adult nursing. When I graduated, I then was very keen on career progression. So I've now progressed to working as an advanced nurse practitioner, which is the most senior clinical nursing position. Um, and, I feel grateful for the opportunities that I've had in the UK. But having these opportunities, it's come with a lot of cost. I've moved house so many times. I've lived in different towns across the UK because depending on what opportunity I've wanted at a particular time, I've had to be flexible and move to somewhere where I can have that opportunity. And that's why I was saying, you know, everywhere is not the same. You're not going to have access to the same opportunities. And so I have a private career coaching program where I support with career progression in the UK, nurses, carers, students, student nurses, prospective student nurses. If you're in healthcare, you're looking for any visa sponsorship opportunities, my program will give you access to all the resources that you need, all that individualized, that tailored, and that personalized advice that you deserve to have in order to better understand your situation. What's the best pathway for you? Yes, you've studied this course, you haven't studied this course, you've got a degree, you haven't got a degree, you've got experience, you haven't got experience. What can you do in the UK? That's what my program focuses on. Also, if you're looking for career progression opportunities, say you're a carer, for example, you want to progress into nursing, into non-clinical healthcare jobs, other healthcare positions, then I can support you with that. You're already a nurse, midwife, and you're thinking, I want to become a specialist nurse, I want to become a nurse manager, I want to become an advanced nurse practitioner, nurse endoscopist. What can I do? What are the non-traditional nursing jobs? Again, I can support you with all of that. So if you check the description box below, or the about section of my YouTube channel, you're going to see a link to my private coaching program. Once you join, then you have access to that tailored, personalized advice. There's quite a lot involved in the program, but you're going to see all of the information there. I also ensure that if you're still out of the UK or you're already in the UK, you're moving to the best place that is going to give you access to the best facilities, the best opportunities, and literally where you're going to thrive. Whether you're a family or you're alone, it doesn't matter, but you need to make the best choices from day one. And that's what my program obviously does. So again, like I've said, if you're keen on this, just check it out. And I look forward to working with you. If this is something that you would benefit from, if you need that tailored advice, then do consider joining that program. So like I was saying, you need to decide. And by the way, there's something important that I should say before I carry on with the other aspects to consider. I'm going to use Manchester. I'm not very good with geography, but anyway, I'm going to use Manchester and London as my bearings for my comparison. So just to give you a general perspective about the UK, because you may be sat there thinking, Melvis, we want specifics. Can you tell us the areas that are cheaper, the areas that are more expensive? So just as a rule of thumb, obviously, from London downwards, so south of London, it's more expensive generally to live. So if you look at London, moving down west and east as well is more expensive. If you move from, say, going up north from, say, Manchester upwards, up north, is generally cheaper to live in. It's like the cheapest place to live in the UK is from Manchester and above going up north. And then if you look at the space in between, so just before Manchester and just before London, that's the Midlands. For me, and looking at the amenities, the facilities, that is like this ideal sweet spot where you want to be. You want to be anywhere just before London or just before Manchester, looking north and south, because, it is a place where when you look at diversity, when you look at being multicultural, when you look at facilities, you want to buy a house, all the basic things that we're going to be covering in this video, you kind of have that basic sweet spot in between. This doesn't mean that, if you're living up north after Manchester, it's in a bad place, or if you're living from London downwards, then obviously that's the best place. But it just means that as a rule of thumb, that's how you should be looking at it, and that's how the country is generally obviously divided. I just thought I should make this clear in case you want specifics in terms of the geographical locations and what to look out for taking those bearings. Also, if you've got any specific questions, I want to leave in the comment section below, because I'm going to join you there to answer those questions, because I may be talking and you're thinking, Melvis, what about this? This is where I live. What do you think about this? If you've got a job somewhere or you currently live somewhere, leave a comment in the comment section below if you've got any questions regarding that, whether it's amenities or, just anything really. And also, hopefully, that will help other people as well who are either thinking about the same thing or still out of the UK looking to move to this beautiful country. Because as the more support you can get to make the best decisions from day one, the more successful you're going to be eventually, obviously, when you get to the UK. By the way, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, you do want to hit subscribe right now. Turn on that notification button so you're the first to be notified when I drop a new video on here. Because obviously, I'm all about bringing you the best opportunities in the UK, how to make the best decisions from day one. Because someone like me, when I moved to the UK, if I knew what I now know, look, I would be like, oh my goodness, from day one, I'll be flying. And that's why I dedicate my time to do these videos, so that those of you that are maybe coming now or still planning to come to the UK, or if you're already in the UK and you're thinking about moving or things like that, then you've got that information obviously to help you as well. And do share this with any colleagues, any loved ones, any family, any friends that you know that may benefit from such information. So, like I was saying, you need to consider education. Look, education, again, being in the UK does not necessarily mean that you're going to have the best education or your kids automatically will have the best education. Not really how it works, because you're limited, to where you choose to live. That's the place where your children will be able to study, except that you've got money and you can afford private schools. Because look, with private schools, obviously there are no geographical boundaries because you're paying anyway. And when you look at private schools in the UK, some of them go for like £20,000 per year if the children are staying at home, for example. Others are like 30,000 per year, 40,000 per year for one child if it's like boarding schools. So again, money is a huge factor. But because schools are obviously free in the UK, you're going to find that, because if you're going to obviously a government school, which means that a free school, you don't have that choice, because you're restricted to the geographical area where you live, which means that if you choose to live in a place because it's cheap, for example, and many cheap places, they have very high crime rates, they are not the best places. That's the reality of it. Most of the places in the UK that are the cheapest places to live are also the worst places. Even when you look at life expectancy in those places is the worst, which means that if you live in that particular place, you're likely going to die 10 to 20 years earlier than someone else who lives in a better neighborhood. So again, this is in the UK. So if there's one thing I want you to take out of this video, is the fact that being in the UK doesn't necessarily mean better opportunities, because you need to work really hard to position yourself in that place where you're going to have access to the best opportunities. And that comes with a lot of hard work, a lot of research, a lot of dedication, a lot of networking as well, and a lot of knowledge, and sacrifices. So those are some of the things that you do need to consider. Again, when it comes to money, some people will be like, "Oh, it doesn't matter whether you've got money or not. Life is not all about money." But the truth is, people that have money have more choice. When you have more choice, you tend to have better opportunities. That is the reality of it. Because like some of my colleagues at work who are able to afford private schools, their kids go to private schools, they have better opportunities in the UK. If you go to, it's like back in Africa, for example, many people that go to private schools, they tend to have really good opportunities, because you're only focused on learning, you're not worrying about maybe tuition fees, your parents are able to afford the best books for you. You're just able to be calmer in a better environment. All of that helps with well-being. All of that helps with success. Is the same thing in the UK. Somebody that goes to Oxford and Cambridge, for example, they don't have the same opportunities as some of us who went to normal universities in the UK. It is not the same thing, and that's how life is. If your kids are able to go to a private school, they're going to have better opportunities. And all of these is influenced by where you choose to live. So again, you can see how that impacts education, including your own career progression as well. So that's the next thing. When it comes to career progression, if you choose to live in a place where they are not supportive with that, that's going to have a huge impact on you. You're going to end up stuck at the same position. If you're a carer, for example, you're going to find that it's going to be so hard not only to get another job, but to progress from where you are. If you're a nurse, you're going to end up being band 5 for the rest of your career. If you're somebody who is in, it doesn't matter the job in which you are. So when you're choosing a place to live, you need to think about all the different aspects, all the different points that you want in your life as a human being, in order to continue to progress, in order to continue to live that beautiful life, because the impact later on is going to be huge. And look, let me tell you, it is never late to move. As an immigrant in the UK, I can move anywhere, and I move depending on the opportunities I have. And that's why I said earlier, I have lived in all sorts of places since moving to the UK, because for me, it's opportunity. The thing that brought me to this country is because I was looking for opportunities. So I don't need to live in a particular area, especially if I don't have what I need. So don't feel that you need to stay in a particular place if things are not moving. It's okay to change, it's okay to move, and do get in contact with me if you're struggling with this and you're thinking, oh my God, Melvis, where can I move to? What can I do? I can so relate to what you're saying, because I've been stuck in this place for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 3 years, however long it is. This is the perfect time for you to move and start a new life somewhere with better opportunities. Because look, I know colleagues that moved to the UK, for example. They've been there for like 16 years, some 20 years. They've had no progress. They haven't moved an inch ahead. They just feel stuck. They don't know what to do. They're not happy where they are, but they're just like, oh my God, what can I do? Please don't do that to yourself. The advantage is that there's that flexibility. You need to move, even if you need visa sponsorship. So what? It doesn't matter. Just apply for other jobs. It's better than being stuck in a place that is not right for you. So again, these are all things that I offer support with through my private coaching program, to make sure that you're getting jobs in the best areas in the UK, where you're going to have access to the best opportunities. You're going to have access to some of the best universities. You know what I mean? Because where you choose to work, if you're a nurse, for example, or the facilities within that area, that's what you're going to have. So very important. I cannot stress this enough. It's not about the cheapest place to live. It's about the place with the best facilities and the best amenities. So that's another thing. So we've talked about education, healthcare. Healthcare is something that is the same thing. If you live in a particular area, you can only have a doctor within that area. You're not allowed to have a doctor outside of that area, except you've got, it's private, which means, again, you need to have the money to pay privately. And look, it is not cheap. So again, having the best healthcare, it doesn't mean that because you're in the UK, you're going to have access to the best healthcare. That's not how it works. If you choose to live in one of the worst places in the country, look, do you think that a doctor with, like the best sort of experience is going to choose the worst place to live in the UK or to work? They won't. Some of the best doctors, they tend to live in, it's all, look, life is not fair. That's what I'm going to say. We all already know that life is not fair. It's never going to be fair. I don't think it will be sweet as it is, if it was as fair as we would all want it to be. So if you live in a place that isn't one of the best places to live, it also is going to have an impact on the quality of healthcare that you have. Because if you live in a place where they've got one of the worst hospitals in the UK, they have that low life expectancy, what can you expect? If you're unwell, if you need to be assessed, you want competent people. You want people who know what they're doing. You want a place where you feel proud to be there. You know that you're in safe hands. There is nothing more important. You know that if you're unwell, you can see a doctor. And look, there are places in the UK right now that if you're there, you're not able to see a doctor if you're sick. The only option will be to go to A&E. If you're it's crazy. So you need to be careful how you're choosing where to live. You need to be really strategic when you're choosing where to live. So again, health, education, career progression, diversity, these things are very important. A place that is expensive doesn't always mean bad. Most of the time, the expensive places are pretty good. It's only that they're expensive. So, like I said, just be in between. You know what I mean? Somewhere in the Midlands is a good mix. It's a good way of kind of settling in the middle. So it's really, really good, and it does work, and these are things that I've experienced myself, because having moved to so many different towns since moving to the UK, working in different areas, I can say that it definitely has a huge impact, obviously, where you choose to live. But you should be driven by opportunity. You should be driven um by improvement. Where can you improve yourself? Where can you have better facilities? And it's never too late to move. If you're watching this and you're thinking, Melvis, I'm here, I don't like where I'm living, I need a change, please do make that change. Do make the effort, because at the end of the day, you're going to be glad that you did. Yes, it's going to take time, it's going to take effort, it's going to take money, it's going to take some inconvenience, it's going to take some guts for you to do that. But in the end, it's going to be a massive improvement in your life. Like I say, if you haven't joined my newsletter, obviously you do want to check the comment section below and join the newsletter. If you need that personalized, that tailored, and that individualized advice, consider joining my private coaching program. Whether you're looking for visa sponsorship opportunities, career progression pathways, work from home opportunities, starting your own side business in the UK, then these are all things that I'm passionate about. And I've done videos on this channel about all sorts of things: how to move to the UK, what you need, how to have a perfect CV to move to the UK. If you're already in the UK, applying for other jobs, how do you position yourself, interview preparation, just those things that you need in order to excel, to succeed, to thrive, so that you can enjoy, the opportunities that this country brings. Because, like I say, being in the UK doesn't necessarily mean that you have access to the best opportunities, whether it comes to education, career progression, healthcare, especially. But you need to make sure that you're doing your research when choosing where to live, especially if you've got kids. If you've got a family, you don't want your kids to grow up in a rugged area, because it's not healthy for them. You want to make a conducive environment for your family, so that ultimately, living here, is all worth it in the end. And so, yes, do consider these points when you're deciding to move to the UK. And, I hope that you've joined my newsletter. If you have, then obviously I'll be sending that info directly to you. If you haven't, then this is an opportunity for you to join. Check the comment section below. It won't take you 20 seconds, your name and email, and you're part of the newsletter. And I'll send that info directly to you. Do share this with your friends, loved ones, colleagues, so that they too are aware of this information and it can help them. Keep watching the videos. I'll see you in the next video.